turn this up
close
a tad.
combat
Watching
versus
Pokemon
the alternative
Champions.
Drain Punch, which does less damage. So, these are two completely different ways of
hell.
using Annihilate, and then the entire rest of their teams are all totally different. So, going to be very exciting to see how exactly that matches up. When I look at Ichabod's team, he has those two modes, which we see here, the Annihilate and the Maushold. That's one mode. We know the Whimsicott and Staraptor, that's another mode, because those are two really good pairs that you can send out together to great effect. So what'll be interesting is which of those two modes he decides to go with, because I could see both of them working in this matchup. Now, that Charizard is going to be a little tricky because it does a lot of damage. That Aggron, despite being a rock type, the Mega is not a rock type, and it's not carrying a rock type move there. Sinistcha's also weak to it. It's going to be, tough if you can maneuver a way to have Charizard just launch attack after attack after attack. That might overwhelm the kind of setup style that Ichabod has.
Yeah, Charizard's going to be absolutely ferocious in this game, and we're only moments away from seeing if it is going to be unleashed.
The big question for me is how is Mike responding to the threat of a population bomb? Because we said Charizard is really a big threat here, but if you just have population bomb and if you connect, I think it took 6 or 7 attempts there to take it out.
Is really
so
cool.
you need to find
this is
a
the
way
grand
to
final.
maybe protect it and start earthquaking and
Ichabod
dealing some
Fame,
damage
that
there,
guy's
but
name is. How clever
if it's
is
partnered
that?
up with the Annihilate, starts like boosting up those Rage Fist damage. So for me, the big question of this game is how do you get around the Mouse Ape before it deals like detrimental?
Yeah, but the thing is that countdown of those population bombs might be detrimental if Mike can realize, hey, my Garchomp has rough skin. What if I swap that Charizard out into Garchomp to take that population bomb? You're counting down those hits while that Maushold is also counting down its HP because it does not want to be using population bomb on that Garchomp. So there's a lot of ways that this match could unfold here. But like you said, I think the Maushold is absolutely a big factor. It just outspeeds the Charizard, does so much damage to it, threatens a KO if those population bombs connect.
Yeah, one big threat.
Dude, in competitive Pokemon, it's like, it is pretty cool.
Carries the Focus Sash, so it would take any incoming move here, and maybe with something like a Phantom Force, it could deal a lot of damage.
Well, trainers, it's time. It's the grand finals here of the Pokemon Champion of Champions tournament, Mike Hobbs versus Ichabod Fame. Who is going to be victorious? Straight out on the field, we've got Annihilate with that little Whimsicott, and on the opposing side, Charizard and Garchomp.
Oh, it's doubles.
Yeah,
right.
Whimsicott
Okay.
provides the speed control here with something like a
I forget about doubles.
Tailwind, but Annihilate
you
without
just have...
any like beat up, without any bulk up, like isn't as big of a threat.
I don't know
here,
how
so
doubles
like
work. Do you have
Earthquake
6
Quake
Pokemon,
would
or
deal
do you
a lot
have?
of
I
damage
like
to both
singles,
Pokemon.
but
Exactly. The fact that there's a threat of
Just 'cause it
two
feels more
spread moves
classic.
that are going to hit both Pokemon, the Whimsicott and the Annihilate, they're going to be in serious trouble, and there's not a whole lot of offense coming back. I mean, sure, there's a Moonblast, but I mean, it's not like that one-hit KOs the Garchomp, and both Garchomp and Charizard are faster than the Annihilate, so no matter what, I mean, you're going to get those attacks off.
I wonder if maybe we will see something like a Protect and Tailwind setup to get Tailwind up and then bring in your Mouse
Mega
Ape from the
Evolve.
back.
Got a
Yeah,
Mega.
that's definitely possible. So let's see, Charizard Mega Evolving here.
Yeah, the sun coming up into the sky as well. Going to be applying a lot of pressure with those fire type attacks into something like the Whimsicott and even into the Annihilate. So a nice defensive play on Ichabod's side, just going straight away for the Protect on the Annihilate, allowing the Whimsicott to go straight for this charm, identifying the physical attacker on the opposing side and lowering the attack stat of that Garchomp by 2 stages as it goes for the Earthquake. The Prankster ability allowing that charm to come through before the Garchomp is able to unleash its attack.
Earthquake and Garchomp.
Yeah, so Whimsicott takes that no problem at all, but it does break the Focus Sash, and so now we see the targeting there.
Oh, man.
Flamethrower over Heat Wave. That way it can't miss. Picks up the KO on that Whimsicott.
Perfectly identify that Heat Wave.
The
has
Heat
a
Wave,
chance
does
to
that
miss,
mean
but
that
all it
fire
takes
moves
is
can't
one
move,
Earthquake
can't
and
miss? It
Flamethrower
looks like.
combination. There's no speed control at the moment, but of course that charm is detrimental here. Like cutting the damage output from Garchomp essentially in half here, and we'll make sure that maybe like Flamethrower and Earthquake is no longer enough to take out that Annihilate. But
Yeah.
we see Aggron at the field.
Yeah, I would have loved to see Maushold. We don't know if it's even come
Is
to
this
the battle, but
another
the fact that
Earthquake
Garchomp and
coming in
Charizard were
shot?
together,
Coming in hot?
that meant it was a perfect opportunity for Maushold to
And
come
that
in and
thing's
can attack the
steel,
Charizard.
so-
No fear of Garchomp, but instead we see the Aggron. What's interesting here is by Mega Evolving, I mean, yeah, you get the ability, which is going to reduce super effective damage, but you lose that rock typing, so you're going to take super effective damage from Charizard.
from
And
fire,
Annihilate
I see
already not in the best spot. Garchomp, though, I mean, after that charm, it's just not threatening much of anything here. You probably want to get it off the field.
I think as well, you know, even like you say, if you Mega Evolve, you have that ability on the Aggron, reducing the special attack damage. This is still a Charizard Y Sun boosted. It's going to be hurting. But actually, Mike's saying, we're going to save Charizard for a little bit later on. I'm going to bring in the Annihilate of my very own. It might be teeny tiny, but it's certainly ferocious on the inside. As the Mega Evolution comes through on the opposing side, it is going to be that Mega Aggron dropping that Rock type.
That's really
So now
interesting
he's just
because I remember
Steel.
Mike telling me I need to protect
But
my
doesn't-
Charizard from rock types. And I mean, before Mega Evolving, Aggron was a rock type, so maybe it was just
Doesn't
better
Annihilate
be safe than
have-
sorry and swapped out the Charizard here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, knowing that Aggron is a rock type, it is
yeah.
scary, but there's the KO there on that Annihilate.
Yeah, that's detrimental for the poor Annihilate, getting in, taking both of the attacks, including, you know, its partner Earthquake coming through as the body press will connect on the Garchomp. Not quite enough to be able to take it down into the orange zone. Aggron taking a little bit of recoil, but critically, a lot more damage on the board coming across from Ichabod's side into Mike's.
Yeah, that was a great turn for Ichabod. I mean, picking up a KO there on the switch in. Ooh.
Now this gets into dangerous territory
Incineroar.
because that Intimidate is going to activate with the fire and boost, and Garchomp is still on the field, locked into Earthquake at -2 attack here. So likely
his
swapping
attack
out,
sharply
but
rose?
all these switching cost Mike so
What's up
much
with that?
momentum and gives Ichabod a chance to get back into this game.
Yeah, Charizard was originally in a really good spot, so I would have loved to see it just stay on the field and just launch those fire-type attacks. Even now, I would have still loved to see it come in here. The fact that it's faster than both does a lot of damage, but looks like now it's hitting the field.
I mean, you wanted to see it back, Ray, and here
I
it
did.
is in all of its glory as the Aggron actually leaves the field as well. I think it's a nice switch, resetting the attack drop that Garchomp had previously made, as well as the Sinistcha coming in and
Sinistcha.
just giving that Annihilate
Oh,
a
he's a
little bit more
matcha
HP
team.
recovery as well. Annihilate does go for the Drain Punch, connects onto that Incineroar. Look at that damage, a one-hit knockout. That extra little bit of damage, bringing the Annihilate right back up to full HP, as well as bringing Mike down to only 2 Pokemon.
I mean, we have seen this once before. A Defiant boosted Drain Punch was enough to take out the Incineroar once again here on the field. And I like the conversation that's going on between these two trainers in between turns, like checking out what they're planning to do. Garchomp now back on the field, no longer charmed.
Yes, it's no longer charmed. Both of these Pokemon, Garchomp and Charizard, should move before both of Ichabod's Pokemon, and they're threatening huge damage still. So this is still, even though Mike is down to his last 2 Pokemon, while Ichabod still has 3, he's still in a pretty
Get that
good
little
position
guy.
here.
He's a little matcha
Yeah,
latte.
I'm particularly glad for Mike that he found a way to bring Charizard in safely, because there was always this threat of maybe a Rage Fist going into that slot, and if Charizard goes down, then I think it's really hard to come back into this game. But now they're kind of forced to protect, but if there's something like an Earthquake Heat Wave potential, I think that takes knockout after knockout.
Unless Heatwave misses, so let's see.
Yeah, well, we're going to see the Earthquake come through first of all. It's only going to be able to connect on that little Sinistcha, do a reasonable amount of damage, taking down about a quarter here, but it's all about whether the Charizard can follow up. The Heat Wave will come through, of course, connecting into the Protect on the Annihilate, and it does find its mark onto the Sinistcha. The sun's
Ooh.
still in the sky, boosting up the power of that Fire-type attack and getting a KO on the board.
Yep, and so now it's 2 versus 2. However, we're still in the same situation. The fact that Garchomp and Charizard are on the field together, they both have spread moves they can use together, and they're both faster, so
And
this
he's
is
gonna get
looking
nuked by
really
that Heat
good
Wave.
for Mike. It's just going to be a
Oh,
question
man.
of
I think
is
Garchomp
Heat
too,
Wave
doesn't
gonna
isn't
hit,
he
or does he even
susceptible
go
to
for it?
ground
Because
moves as
we
well?
know the Aggron, it's not really threatening enough damage. He might be safe to just use Flamethrower on the Annihilate instead of risking the Heat Wave miss.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we saw the speed interaction between Charizard and Annihilate. If they're both like trained for maximum speed, then Charizard should typically be faster. Earthquake comes up first though, and then most crucial is
I realize
Charizard
Earthquake
up.
hits your own
Hands
Pokemon.
up in the air for Ichabod.
Aggron's gonna get
Easily takes the Earthquake, but what is following up here, and how can Charizard decide this game?
Oh,
Dead.
and we do see the Flamethrower, but it is into the Aggron instead. That is going to pick up the KO, but let's see what this Annihilate does, because this Annihilate is looking really strong.
Yeah, exactly. Annihilate does have the
Into
Rage
two Pokemon
Fist
though?
ready to go. It's angry, it wants revenge, and it certainly gets it on that Charizard. Takes it down in one fell swoop. A little dance of joy for Ichabod, but you
Alright, we
still
haven't
have
seen
to find a way
Staraptor
to
yet.
contend through with this Charizard. But now you've got the single target attack.
Exactly.
Earthquake. Could that be what swings the victory?
Exactly, and we know, like, this Annihilate,
guy, run the dang
it is
dungeon.
bulky. We have seen with the bulk up, like, it's likely trained to be a little bit bulkier, but this Earthquake is full power, so let's see.
Yeah, it's a very niche interaction.
Ooh.
Single target was now dealing more damage than it was doing before, and maybe Ichabod was relying on this, what, 45, 46 HP percent damage in the first set. So, wow, come back here into this game, and game 1 for Mike.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait,
that was
okay, so you have to
amazingly
choose 4
played. I mean,
Pokemon.
it looked like it was getting a little tricky there, all that switching, but it ended up working out, able to get Garchomp and Charizard on the field at the same time, lose the Charm by switching Garchomp out, and ended up getting them both on the field at the same time, no stat reductions, and the fact that there was no Tailwind coming out on Ichabod's side meant that Mike's Pokemon were going to be able to move first and pick up those KOs before they could be attacked back.
So my big question here is, do we see an adaptation in Megas? Aggron was okay-ish, but I think Staraptor might have a bigger chance here in this game, and that's what's going to come down here, is Ichabod finding a way to maybe position the Staraptor a little bit better into the set, and then, well, after a Charm, maybe Charm yourself, getting close combat off. We saw that happen on stream before, and I think then it's really difficult to get rid of that Staraptor.
Okay, I'm glad
So
that your Twitch works
maybe
on your
that's a
PC.
switch up for a game.
This is so
what I
this
wanna
game that
see-
we're
I wanna
watching
see
is
that
the grand
Staraptor
finals
instead of the Aggron. I
of
also
the
wanna see
newest
Maushold
version
make
of
an appearance.
Pokemon.
I
Let's
think
turn
Maushold
them down a
could've
little
been,
bit.
a big difference
Of the
maker as
newest
well,
version
so
of
here we go,
competitive
game
Pokemon
2.
games.
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna turn this down a little bit for me. It's really, really
Ichabod,
loud.
and there it is.
So
Beautiful
this
force
game right here
speed
is a
for a
completely
little bit
free-to-play
as well, but some more
Pokemon game.
potential charm action
It's
into that
only
Garchomp, and
competitive
once again,
battling.
Charizard.
Yeah, I mentioned
It's dude,
last
and
week,
it's really,
good
really
for Mike
great.
to have these two together,
I'm
Garchomp
gonna
and
play
Charizard.
some
However,
competitive
when the
Overwatch,
Maushold is
but
on the field and
this
nobody
just
has to
happened to
worry
be
about
on,
accidentally
and I've really been
population
excited
bombing
to
Garchomp
watch a little
switching
bit of
in.
this
So now
game.
that
This
they
is the
know
grand
Garchomp's
final
on the
of
field,
this
you can
game. I think they've been
see
playing
the
all
launch that
day.
population bomb
So
into
how it
Charizard.
works is you have, out of those 6 Pokemon on each side, you choose 4, and then you put 2 Pokemon out at once. So it's 2v2 Pokemon. It's a very, very good format. These are called doubles. I don't really play doubles. I mostly play singles. But we've got Maushold this time.
That's why maybe Maushold hit the field here.
Yeah.
How that's going to play a role.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Maushold is threatening that Charizard so much with a KO, that also keeps Whimsicott safe against the Charizard, so Whimsicott can now...
So we'll definitely get some different,
here.
a different
Yeah,
game
getting that
going
speed
here in a little
doubled
bit.
up on
But
Ichabod's side as the
population
Maushold now
bomb,
fast,
okay.
and Furious can go for these population bombs, as you said, Ray.
Dude, he's
Finding
fucking up that
the top
Charizard.
down
Oh my
well,
god, he one-shot
and
him.
the 6th one will be able to get the knockout. Mike not happy to see the Charizard go down, but now you have the utility for this Garchomp that is free to go straight for the Stomping Tantrum. It will connect down onto the Maushold and do a very respectable amount of damage.
Yeah, it didn't lock itself into Earthquake, which means any partner on the side would be safe to switch in, doesn't have to fear a side Earthquake here. Stomping Tantrum, decent damage here, but Annihilate...
Annihilate comes out. He's a ghost fighting type. He's really, really cool. He evolves from Primate. He's really fucking cool.
This is actually the more offensive set with the...
So Maushold is a normal type, so he's susceptible to fighting. Whimsicott is a grass type, I believe.
Doesn't want a population bomb. Garchomp can't do anything to Annihilate, so I imagine Maushold wanting to get off the field here, unless Ichabod decides, oh, maybe I'll just sacrifice it, use Follow Me to, maybe protect my Pokemon, or protect itself like we see here.
Yeah,
Okay.
option 3, going fully defensive and protecting that little Maushold as Whimsicott goes on the offensive now and goes for that Moonblast, targeting down into the
Oh my
Dragon
God.
type. Does, again, 3/4 damage, huge amount.
Was
chunk
that
away
fire?
into that
What
Garchomp.
was that? Fairy type into
Retaliate with the
Dragon?
Stomping Tantrum that it is locked into. Whimsicott just going to be chipped away at a little bit, so now it comes down to the Annihilate. But it was going for that close combat, actually into the Protect here, so a really wise defensive play on Ichabod's side.
Yeah, maybe at the beginning we thought, hey, what do we need the Tailwind for? But this now allows Whimsicott to also outspeed the Garchomp. We saw the first Moonblast dealing a lot of damage. And
This
now it's
game
in
is a
range
really,
of
really
another
good game, dude.
Moonblast. But then Annihilate is still free to roam here on the field. Easy against the Maushold. Maybe we see a Phantom Force play role here as well.
Yep.
Who do we got
Instead, we're
next?
gonna see
Annihilate,
Maushold
okay.
off the field in favor of the Annihilate. I like that switch in.
If he has a...
Nice if you're expecting the close combat to come through again. Bring in a Ghost type. It's going to
Yeah,
be
but-
immune.
Wow.
And now the Titan
right.
of VGC comes in. It is going to be the Incineroar, the Annihilate switch for Ichabod. Fantastic because you get to get a boost
Moonblast.
thanks to your Defiant ability. Moonblast will be followed up here into the Incineroar that was previously
Got too much
Garchomp,
damage.
Going to be able to take it reasonably well.
Incineroar,
As the Annihilate
that's
on
his
Mike's
name.
side does not manage to land the close combat thanks to the fantastic switch of that Annihilate on Ichabod's side.
One thing I really like about the playstyle of both these players is conditioning the opponent. We saw a Protect to scout out what's happening. We saw a close combat going into the Maushold and then saying, well, I have the perfect counter that, swapping their own Annihilate in.
Yeah, and
Tailwind,
like
I don't
the
know what
fact
that ability
Ichabod
does.
Decided to preserve his own Maushold because that's going to be able to insulate his own Annihilate from the Phantom Force from Mike's Annihilate. Not only can he potentially switch in the Maushold to take it because it's predictable, but here, see the Encore.
This is beautiful. The close combat will be doing very minimal damage into the Whimsicott and obviously nothing into the opposing Annihilate. Annihilate on Ichabod's side, however, is free to get angry, get a huge amount of damage down on the opposing Annihilate. That's really going to be doing
So Rage Fist
insignificant
must be a
damage here
ghost
with this
damage?
close combat into that Whimsicott. Look at it, able to take turn to this Incineroar and what it's able to utilize.
I think he's getting KO'd.
Most crucially, the Incineroar wasn't dealt with here and gets a Flare Blitz off, because we saw as before, like a Drain Punch would have been enough to take the knockout here. But instead, Annihilate has to take this Flare Blitz.
Yeah, I really love that Encore. I mean, that's a perfect way to lock Annihilate in. It's not like, you know, it can protect anymore. It can't switch up moves. Its move right now, it doesn't want to be using close combat. It can't protect to, you know, try and preserve. So even if it, I mean, if you switch, I mean, you're not going to want to do that, because then Garchomp's going to come in and take a bunch of damage when you really need it healthy. It only has, what, 20% or something remaining? So yeah, I really like that play from Ichabod. I think he's adjusted game 2 perfectly, and he's in a really good position now to bring us to a game 3.
I mean, looking into this, Whimsicott, Maushold, and Annihilate was everything Ichabod needed to deal with champions like Charizard, Garchomp, Incineroar, and Annihilate. Perfectly positioned, perfectly played out.
Whimsicott resetting that Tailwind as well, allowing the Annihilate to get that edge and go for that Drain Punch. It's going to be able to not only get the knockout on the Incineroar, but reap up that HP back up to 98%, putting it into the prime position. And again, the Annihilate on Mike's side still locked into that
Garchomp
Encore,
comes
so it's
back
forced
out.
to go for that close combat once again. I think this time, though, it will be able to secure a knockout, but this really just gives Ichabod a free switch into the back.
Yep, he's got the Tailwind, he's got the Encore lock onto Annihilate, so it can't protect itself. We know Garchomp can't protect itself either, so this is looking really good for Ichabod.
Yeah, and after that Defiant boost as well, I don't think that Garchomp will appreciate a boosted Rage Fist here either. So looks like a prime position, and we actually see Staraptor making an appearance over Maushold
and
in this
Garchomp.
very final turn here. Intimidate coming off crucially, but thanks to that block into close combat, won't matter too much. Especially
If his speed was faster, then I guess it's a flying normal, so
Like we were talking about before
it'll just
the
be
game,
times
the
1
adjustments
damage.
we wanted to see Ichabod make, adding the Maushold, adding the Staraptor. That's exactly what he did. But Mike gets to see this now. That Staraptor coming in right at the end. I mean, now at least he has that information, so he can go into a game 3 and try and make an adjustment.
Yeah, now in Tailwind, I think Annihilate and Staraptor have everything they need to close out and take those last 2 knockouts. Maybe something like a Rage Fist and a close combat, maybe put a Mega Evolution on top of that, and it looks like Ichabod is in prime position to take the second game, give us a game 3 for Grand Finals.
Yeah, it
Mega
doesn't get better
Staraptor
than
comes
that.
out.
Not before we're going to see a little Mega
Looks
Evolution action on the
badass.
field, though. That Mega Staraptor is raining so happy up into the sky. And of course, now you're going to utilize that beautiful Tailwind to go for a Brave Bird, get some damage on the board, get
Think
it
about him
into
as
that
dancing in
close
his
Garchomp,
chair.
and
He's
then it really
cool.
is just going to be another Rage Fist away from, as you said, evening up the score, bringing us a game 3, and I love a game 3 here in Grand Finals.
Rage Fist taking the final knockout, and Ichabod is winner of game 2 here. Big question for me is, Ichabod came prepared into every single game we saw here on stage, but in game 1 of Grand Finals opted for the Aggron, which looked a little bit odd and actually costed in the game as well. So my question here is, what did Ichabod actually anticipate or predict to happen in game 1 that made him go for this mode here instead of maybe something like the Annihilate mode instead? So looking how both the adoptions from Mike and Ichabod in game 3 here, and which Mega we'll see.
Yeah, and I think because Ichabod made that adjustment and won the second game, I would think it would be more likely that he will go back to what worked in that game 2 for the game 3. I think, to me, the question is going to be, does Mike decide to change anything up now that Ichabod has already shown that he's changed his team up?
Yeah, we saw like Tailwind was a big factor here. We also saw perfectly positioning and how to like maybe maneuver around that. So seeing like an unorthodox lead in the Maushold and Whimsicott paying off so well and kind of forcing the hands off Mike here. Population Bomb taking the first knockout. So a lot to deal with, a lot of offensive pressure, even though it was only Maushold and Whimsicott.
Yeah, to me, what I want to see that Garchomp on Mike's side waiting in the back. I want to keep it a mystery so that Ichabod is, you know, he's not feeling so free to use that Population Bomb. I want to instill some fear so that, you know, maybe he doesn't click that Population Bomb to knock out Charizard, leaving Charizard open to use an attack. Maybe he gets in his own head and thinks, oh, that Garchomp might switch in. I'm not going to use Population Bomb, and that frees up Charizard to actually go for an attack. Or maybe it does use Population Bomb, and Mike calls that switch and gets his Garchomp in and just blows up the Maushold thanks to its own Population Bomb.
I think the Mouseholt's definitely terrifying, and I think that's why I'd almost like to see Incineroar Venusaur come through, set that sun up, use the sun to boost up the chlorophyll ability, and then maybe try and, you know, force the Mousehold to have to make a choice. Do you take down the Charizard, for example, and then possibly go to sleep, or do you take down the Venusaur and then have to deal with the wrath that the Charizard can unleash? But there's only one game between these trainers. One game is all that is left in this tournament to decide who our champion of champions is going to be. Let's take a look at the leads. It's the classic combination of Mousehold and Annihilape, and then the opposing side, Charizard and Venusaur. You
Neat.
couldn't get a more perfect competitive video game match if you tried.
And just like you called, Lou, we see that Charizard and the Venusaur. I love that adjustment. That's going to be kind of a form of speed control, activating that harsh sunlight for the Venusaur so it can move first. That is going to be big. Sleep Powder as well can prevent either of these Pokemon from attacking. I think Mousehold right now being the bigger threat, maybe that's where the Venusaur decides to try to put to sleep. So this is looking like a great adjustment for Mike.
I think the difficulty is identifying which Pokemon to maybe put asleep, because if you go for the Annihilate but Mousehold gets a strong attack off, that would be detrimental. Seeing that Mousehold can potentially protect here, and with Annihilate alone without any setup shouldn't be as strong either. So targeting the Mousehold will be really important in this first turn.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. But Sleep Powder is not perfect accuracy, so that's also something. But it is Mike's favorite Pokemon, he said, so maybe that bond is going to ensure that it hits.
It's hit all its Sleep Powders so far in this tournament, but step one, get the sun in the sky, and that's exactly why we have this beautiful Charizard Y onto the field right now. That Drought is going to be not only boosting up the Fire-type attacks, but making this Venusaur doubly fast. There's no Sleep coming through. Instead, all out on the offensive with that Earth Power, a
Huge.
critical hit for good measure, but it's not enough to get the KO, meaning Mousehold is free to go for that devastating population bomb. Charizard, however, follows up with a flamethrower and actually says, no Mousehold, no population for you today. You go right back into the Pokeball. Excellent play here.
Ichabod fame, dude. It's they're having fun, dude. That's tight.
So the Rage Fist is not being stacked up to extra damage. Charizard able to take that so comfortably.
Wow, that ended up being an amazing turn from Mike there. Picking up the KO on Mousehold before it could even KO one of his own Pokemon. That was huge. And that Rage Fist, it hasn't been powered up yet because Mike just ignored it. So in comes the Staraptor. The Intimidate doesn't do anything to these special attackers, but Staraptor is really fast. Not faster than the Venusaur, though.
Yeah, we haven't seen the speed interaction between the Charizard and the Mousehold, so seeing that Charizard was actually faster gives him such a big edge into this game here. Not having to rely on Sleep Powder, being able to double up and take the knockout here while just leaving the Nile on the field. Now, however, Staraptor in a great position here kind of forces Venusaur to maybe go for the more defensive plays there with Sleep Powder.
Yeah, I think we have to see a Sleep Powder here to try and keep that Staraptor from getting, off all kinds of damage with Brave Bird onto that Venusaur itself. And there it is. It hits.
Well, that
Sleep
is gonna
Powder?
be the Sleep Powder connecting. This Venusaur has such a bond with its trainer, finding its accuracy into the big threat as Charizard follows up with the Solar Beam. Not wanting to capitalize on the sun in the sky for the fire damage. Instead, it's going to be this one-turn Solar Beam into the Annihilape, taking it down to about 50%. Staraptor guaranteed to take its first turn to sleep as Annihilape goes for the Rage Fist. It is now, however, boosted up a little bit, so it's going to get the knockout.
Yeah, so that Solar Beam not doing enough to activate the Citrus Berry. So Annihilape does still have the Citrus Berry. It's also boosting the Rage Fist to a point that it's actually powerful enough to KO the Charizard, because like we saw after that first turn, Rage Fist was only doing about a third, but with that boosted power, now it becomes enough to actually knock out the Charizard.
Yeah, we see Garchomp hit the field here. Most importantly, Staraptor already mega evolved, so if something like the Incineroar would swap in, thanks to the contrary, it would actually boost the attack, so that's no longer an option. Big question for me is, how do you deal with the Annihilape at the moment? Because Earth Power might not be enough, and Sludge Bomb shouldn't be enough either. So Annihilape in a great position after already taking a hit, and Rage Fist being boosted here. So Garchomp kind of in a tricky position here. Doesn't want to give the Staraptor a free turn to maybe wake up and start dealing damage either.
Yeah, but with Sleep Powder, there's a way. With Rock Slide, there's a way. Instead, it looks like we see the Sludge Bomb. That's a lot of damage, though.
Yep, no sleep going to come down onto the Annihilape this turn. Instead, a lot of damage into that Staraptor. As Garchomp locks into the Rock Slide, the follow-up will get the knockout.
Ooh.
Oh no, it won't. Just hanging
Focus
on
Sash,
Staraptor in
maybe.
play, and
I
Annihilape
guess.
having to take
How did he
some
survive
damage.
that?
But critically, as you said, Ray, that Citrus Berry still intact from the previous turn. As
Oh!
Oh, the flinch!
Oh! With Rock Slide, there's a way.
Oh,
We saw it
man.
right there in a Game 3.
Welcome to competitive Pokemon, Mike and Ichabod. That is one of the most heartbreaking but also amazing moments you could have.
You saw the live reactions. I'm like, yes, waking up, no flinching, no flinching. And it's like, I mean, we're still back into this game here. Garchomp still has to connect Rock Slides to take advantage of that. But Venusaur now in a prime position to take out the Staraptor.
Yeah, Rock Slide can always miss. I mean, there's still 2 turns of Harsh Sunlight left, so even a Protect won't stall out the Sun permanently to make that Venusaur slow enough for Annihilate to actually move before it.
Straptor going on the defensive, going for that Protect, does not want to have to take another Rock Slide that would guarantee that KO. As Venusaur finds its target onto the Annihilate with the Earth Power, hoping that the follow-up from this Choice Scarf Garchomp is going to be enough to be able to remove the Annihilate from play and bring Ichabod down to 2 remaining Pokemon. Rock Slide, of course, not connecting onto
protected
the
against
Staraptor,
that.
but it will find its mark onto the Annihilate, but it's not enough for a KO.
Man.
Can Annihilate break through and get some damage off on the board?
Ooh.
Drain
That has gotta
Punch.
be a
But the
Siren.
Drain Punch, unfortunately, is not enough to take out the Garchomp. Rangers would have
Very
been
small
really
amount of
strong
damage.
opponent here. But now,
And then I think
Rock Slide
Staraptor
also
has
doing
like that
damage,
little
and it looks
speed.
like Mike is in a commanding position to take this home.
Dude, one
Yeah,
more
now the fact that, Venusaur
that
is
rock type
faster, but
move.
it's only faster for 1 more turn. So if Annihilate can, hang on for just 1 more turn, then it's going to become faster than the Venusaur, most likely based on training.
Man, the
Rock Slide
graphics in this
also
game
can
are so
miss,
good, man.
Yes, one big option, of course, Staraptor maybe switching out for something like the Hospitality Sinister waiting in the back.
That's
There it
exactly
is.
what we're seeing. Sinistcha is going to join the field here, give Staraptor a little bit of a break, bring it in later on, but critically boost up the HP of that Annihilate to try and keep it in the game. Annihilate as well, going for the Protect, maybe trying to burn through some of these Sun turns that are in the sky as Venusaur goes for the Sludge Bomb, finds a mark onto that Grass type that switched in and gets the Poison to add a little insult to injury.
Yeah, put Sinister on a timer now. Venusaur, even though it takes Life Orb damage turn after turn, is still well in the greens here. And thanks to
That
that
Sinestro
poison
might
and the
die in
combination
this.
of Sludge Bomb, Rockside, perfect positioning, perfect targeting here. Actually takes it out. But most crucially, this was the last turn of Sun.
I think that's actually maybe okay that Sinistcha went down, because now Sun is, it's over, it's gone. Annihilate likely going to be faster than the Venusaur. Staraptor comes out. I mean, depending on how this Rock Slide goes, if Annihilate, can manage to get the KO on Venusaur, I mean, that Rock Slide is doing not too much damage to Annihilate, just powering it up even further. If that last Pokemon is maybe an Incineroar, there's suddenly a way back into the game for Ichabod here, but it all depends on how this Rock Slide goes.
I think Ichabod so far has shown that he has the capability to protect the Staraptor now and take crucial damage with the Annihilate. That's exactly what we're seeing here.
Yeah, the Protect comes through on the Staraptor because you really need this Annihilate to get the damage on the board. Garchomp goes for the Rock Slide, seeing whether the Annihilate is going to be able to break through with its ultra boosted up Rage Fist at this point is going to be the swing of momentum that Ichabod needs. It does break through. The Rage Fist comes through. This Annihilate is so formidably angry that it gets the KO on that Venusaur. Now, on Mike's side of the field, you only have 2 Pokemon remaining. We're going to see that 4th and final revealed any moment.
Yeah, that was the perfect play. Protect the Staraptor. Just hope you don't get flinched by Rock Slide. Pick up the KO on Venusaur. Now that you outspeed it, and there it is. There's the Incineroar.
That's exactly what we talked about. Now, most crucially, gives an attack boost to that Annihilate as well. But
Holy
we have Fake
crap.
Out online, may take out the Staraptor, and then we have seen that Rock Slide deals what, 12-13% damage on the Annihilate. So it's actually going to be difficult. But if you give Annihilate the opening to go for a Drain Punch, take out the Incineroar, and also heal all the way back, that's exactly what Ichabod needs in this
Exactly.
game.
So it all comes down to Rock Slide. We've seen it before in VGC. We're seeing it again in a Game 3 in the finals. If Annihilate can land a Drain Punch into Incineroar, heal back all of that health that it's already lost, KO the Incineroar, and now Garchomp is stuck using Rock Slide over and over. We've seen it just doesn't do much of anything to Annihilate. But at this point, if that Annihilate can land an attack, the game is going to be Ichabod's.
Well, the Garchomp going first, thanks to that Choice Scarf, is going to be able to get the KO onto the Staraptor. So now Mike needs this Annihilate to flinch, needs to have it immobile, unable to go for that Drain Punch, and that's exactly
The
what Mike
flinch,
was able
dude.
to get. Incineroar follows up with
Insane.
the Focus into the Annihilate, takes the KO, and Mike Hobbs is going to be your champion of champions.
Ooh, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I mean,
What a
Rock
fun
Slide,
match, dude.
When you have Rock Slide, there's a way. I mean, we've
It's,
said it before, we'll
it's a
say
game
it
called
again. We've
Pokemon.
seen it here. I mean,
And this is the
multiple
newest iteration of the
glitches from Rock
competitive-
Slide. The move is just that powerful. And
The
give
newest
credit to
iteration
Mike.
of
He
the
recognized
Pokemon,
Rock Slide. That was the move to lock
competitive
Garchomp
game,
into
which is
because of that
awesome
twist
because
right there,
something that they
choosing
did
the one move
this
that
time
lasts
around,
move
which
your
why
Garchomp.
makes Pokemon Champions so great, is getting competitive Pokemon in the video game is extremely difficult because they have to have the right ability and nature, etc. And just setting up a competitive match in this game is so much better. This is the best competitive video game. This is the best competitive Pokemon game ever, for sure. So that was awesome. Very, very good. Very, very good match. I'm going to stop the stream because I want the VOD to stop there. I'm going to restart the stream in 1 sec.